I feel like some of the most basic rules that are controversial is people don't know that you can get fouled after you've taken a shot and landed and still not get an and one.
We are at Wima Sports, indeed, where we are championing sports development. And our host right here is Osoita Lodge, where guests become family from passion to profession. And we are having a great guest today, Susan Ndichu, who is going to get to express more about, her umpire journey and how she got into sports, what she does now, and is she going back to play or not? Get to discover all this here at Wima Sports, indeed, where we are championing sports development. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you.
Nice having you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Yeah. So maybe if you can get to do justice and maybe just get to let the viewers know who you are.
Hello viewers, I'm Susan Nyambura, a basketball referee. Apart from being a basketball referee, I'm a business lady and I'm also in tech.
Maybe you can let us know about your business as well.
Well, my business is also in the industry of sports. I sell sports attire. So jerseys, gym fits, I deal in all that, customizing them as well. Yeah.
Can you share your earliest memory of playing the game of basketball and, what sparked your interest in the sport?
My earliest memory dates back to my second day in high school. Yeah, that is when I started playing basketball. So I was just interested in the game. Got to try it out and stuck with it. Loved the game, loved the physical challenge, loved the family I gained from basketball, and that is how I got into basketball.
How's been the transition for you, Okay, before even we get to transitioning, which are some of your best games that you played? The best memories that you've had in the court?
Okay. I would say actually my best games were in high school. I remember like the championships, fighting to go for nationals, remaining in school for the camps, training like crazy. Yeah, that was my prime in high school. Then I also got to play in campus where I got a new family.
How's the journey of a student athlete been for you while at campus?
It's been awesome. One thing being a student athlete does to you is it helps you network. You get a good network from your basketball family, your teammates, your coaches. It also gives you, something to do because we have a lot of free time in uni. That is one thing. So it gives you something to do during your free time. It's also an escape from a lot of things. So playing sports has been a great thing.
Yeah. Maybe if you can define these things.
What things?
A lot of things, yeah. What are some of these things that, being a student athlete keeps you away from?
Well, one of the things, drugs. I mean, engaging in the wrong activities, idling around, because we all know like an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So being an athlete helps you focus on something different, where you also get to socialize. Some people ask you, is it hard being an athlete because you don't have a social life? I mean, I have my social life in basketball. That is why I have like my best friends. So it's a good thing.
And now you transitioned to becoming an umpire, a referee. How did you, at what point, if you can just take us through your thought process that you'd say, I want to do this. How did you get to that point?
It wasn't something I thought of initially. It is something that just happened. And it wasn't much of a transition because I was still playing and still being a referee. I stopped playing for other reasons, not because of being a referee. So I started doing kids' games. That is how I started being a referee. I had actually just gone to attend a game and one referee didn't show up. Since I was a basketball player, they requested me to do the game. I got to see the perspective of being a referee. It sparked my interest, and that is how I got to it. So I started doing it more.
And there's a clinic you attended in 2020?
Yeah.
If you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, I attended this clinic in Uganda in 2020. It was a beginner's clinic. I'm so glad I got the opportunity. I feel like that has been my turning point in my refereeing journey. It was a starting point, yes, but it is what, gave me the clarity that I would 100% want to do this. I got to interact with like the best trainers, great FIBA instructors, and more people, like more female referees or aspiring female referees. It was actually an only women clinic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any challenges you faced during that year that you couldn't practice due to the pandemic and decided to attend this clinic?
Oh yeah, the clinic was in early 2020, I believe in January. So after the clinic, COVID came. I never got to practice. I think I took like the whole year off without practicing. So it was a bit challenging because you don't get to practice, you don't get to interact with like a real game situation. That was the main challenge. No games, no way to practice. So the only way you can at least, keep yourself with the rules is by studying the rules online and watching games. Yeah.
Speaking of rules, if you can just shed light on some of them, basic rules, being an umpire, that you see basketball players don't get as you officiate. What are some of those, rules that are just basic?
I feel like some of the most basic rules that are controversial is people don't know that you can get fouled after you've taken a shot and landed and still not get an and one. And I think this has happened not when I was officiating, but I have watched this in other games like FIBA games and all. So people should study the rules, especially coaches and players, to make the work easier for us. Yeah.
How can they get the rules? Maybe if you can just let us know where to get them from. And
the rules are like available online. You can actually just Google FIBA rules. They'll give you like the latest rules. We also have other apps that have rules. So there's the FIBA app, but mostly just Google them. You'll find the rules online, download them, you can study them.
As an umpire, what would you like to see changed, or what would you like to see changed on the side of a player in regards to officiating?
Probably how players react to calls, because we are human beings and we can explain a call to players. So maybe how their reaction and their knowledge of the rules. Yeah, to avoid so many stoppages, so many controversies. That is the only thing. But I see a lot of improvements, especially now that I'm doing the National League. People are aware of the rules. People are doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned about you guys getting as an official or umpire, getting to explain, having a chance. But one thing I see when I see international games, players also get to talk, have a conversation. Why is it that here that doesn't happen a lot?
No, players are allowed to ask questions and we should explain it to them. So if I make a call and you don't know why I made a call, you're allowed to at least question. And I, as a referee, I should explain it to you briefly. Yeah.
Okay. The reason why I asked that is because, some of the players knew that I was going to interview an official. And they're like, hey, sometimes they feel they get too personal. I don't know. Not you, but some of your colleagues. What do you think on that?
I think my colleagues are trying their best. It also depends on how a player asks. Sometimes, there's too much anger in a player. So there's that calming them down and trying to explain to them. But I see other referees try and do their best. Yeah.
How did you stay motivated, and keep your skills sharp during the break?
The COVID break?
Yeah, the COVID break.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is when I had started officiating, so I was still so fresh. I took that time to study the rules. So I will read the rules. I will just read the PDF, go through it, watch games, and I just stayed physically fit. Although there were no games, that is what I did. I stayed physically fit and read the rules. I understood the rules.
Yeah. Maybe if you can describe further, I know you already mentioned this, your experience of your first game officiating in the KSBC league, I assume, right?
Yeah.
How was it, and how have you grown into the National League?
Well, I did kids games for a very long time before I started doing the KSBC. And I remember my first KSBC game. It was quite intense, very fast, full of pressure. It was a good experience, a good learning experience. I got to practice at least the communication skills where you tell a player this is what happened, and that is how I got to grow. Yeah, from the KSBC, I started doing more of Div 1 games, as I still did the kids games, and kept improving, kept being better at communicating. It is always a growing process.
Yeah.
You start off, you're a player, you transition into a referee. There are things that you're not used to, especially game management, maintaining the composure even during a very intense game. So, doing the Div 1 games, especially the KSBC game, that was my growth point. Yeah.
And what are some of the, key lessons or skills you developed in 2022 that prepared you for the National League?
One of the key things was the communication. Because if you're doing a game, you have to communicate with the players, the coaches, and have that rapport between them. I also got to practice, my composure during games and how to handle any controversies, any, complaints. That is one of the major things I learned in Div 1. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is huge, for an umpire, for an official. It's huge because sometimes, as you say, the adrenaline is up, and someone might say some things, and you get to understand and how to balance that. Hey, it wasn't directed to me personally, but how have you had those points that you almost broke off your comfort zone? And how did you handle it?
I'm very glad that I did not learn from my own mistakes. I got to, I was well prepared. Most of the times, coming into the National League, I was very prepared. Where you get a talk from the senior referees and they tell you, this is what happens, this is what to expect. So there has not been a point where I lost it or I lost my composure. I've always tried my best to maintain that composure and stay in the game. Yeah.
If you can take us through your first National League, the KBF, your first game to officiate. How was it for you? What was your thought process before it? This is it, it's happening. What was your assessment after it?
So before the game, I was prepared. I knew this is going to be a bigger game, a faster game, and there will be a crowd, so there will be noise, obviously. But I just, gave myself that talk to lock in, do my best. After the game, I remember I felt like, of course, it was not the best, but I did my best. I also just listened to the reviews that I got from the others, took down notes on notes to improve, and went home and worked on that.
What are some of the opportunities for lady umpires?
In
KBF, in basketball, you've been there. What are some of the opportunities you see for, being a lady umpire or being a lady official?
I feel like KBF has been very open to lady referees. The number has increased. We have more lady referees doing the league right now. I remember coming in, we only had 2 or 1 doing the games. Right now we have more. We also have more clinics that are trying to educate the female referees. Bring them in, educate them, at least get them into the game. Yeah.
Any memorable moments, the highlights of you being a referee in your career so far as a referee?
I believe I got my first memory or my first highlight in 2020 when I attended the clinic in Uganda. Being there for almost a week, being taught by great FIBA trainers. That was one of my highlights. Got very inspired. I also love seeing, when I do kids games, you get to teach them as you officiate the game, because you make a call, they ask you what happened, what should I not do. So I love seeing them, if you called a walk this time and the next few minutes they're trying their best not to walk, I feel like I'm also doing my part in teaching.
Yeah.
So those are my highlights, yeah.
I like the aspect of teaching that you've brought up, because indeed you guys are teachers of the game as well.
Yeah.
Post a game, during a game, you're teaching constantly. Does that gives you pressure to get more knowledge and wisdom?
Yes, definitely. For you to teach, you have to understand the game very well. So you have to take your time, understand the game, so that at any point, if you're doing a game, if there's any question you need to address, you need to be ready.
And how do you balance? You're a lady, you've graduated, you have your career, you have your business, you have family, weekends you're out officiating. How do you get to balance all this with your commitments in your life?
I try my best to stay organized. Well, it is not so hard to get the balance since we only get to do games during weekends. So during the week, I am, doing my job as well as running the business. During weekends, that is when I try to organize and try to balance. And sometimes I will opt to, spend time with my family and, do the games as well. So it is all a matter of staying organized, planning yourself. I will have this and this time to dedicate it to seeing family and this time to officiating. Yeah.
So any siblings in sports? Any family member doing sports?
Yeah. Okay, my brother is a swimmer. My nephew plays basketball. Proud to say that. He texts me every time, like, "Auntie, I played a game and won today. You should have watched me." I also try my best to go and watch him play. Yeah.
And you swim as well? Anything you do out of sports? Out of basketball, is there any other sport that you do actively?
I don't do any other sport competitively.
Yeah. But for fun that you engage in? Any other sport that you get to engage in?
Well, maybe swimming. And is chess considered a sport?
It is.
Yeah, plays
I
chess.
think it's in the Olympics as well, I think. Yeah. So how you've gone through all this? Can you share any strategies you use to maintain fairness, impartiality on the court?
Well, with that, it has to do with the rules, and taking these rules and applying them in the game. You have to make sure you apply them to all players and all teams to just maintain fairness. So better understanding of the rules will enable you to just have a smooth time doing a game because you already know this is what happens and I have to apply it to both teams, all the players. Yeah.
I asked this before, but maybe if you can also talk about it again. How do you get to handle the pressure more so and the scrutiny that comes with officiating the high stake games? Fans decide, hey, ref, the game is high intensity, running up and about, your heart is thumping, throbbing, and oxygen levels are going low. How do you get to handle such moments?
Well, if you're confident enough in your knowledge of rules, that is one. You will definitely not get so shaken because you're sure, I did not make a wrong call. I made this call because of this and this. But more importantly, I just give myself that self-talk before the game, not to listen to so many voices. Just focus on the game. Do my best. Yeah.
So the strategy is to focus on the game.
Yeah, focus on the game.
Lock out the noise. Block out the other noise.
Yes.
Awesome. Any compliments you've received from fans as you officiate a game?
Most of them just say hi, ref, and all. But I've received a compliment from coaches sometimes or referees who tell you, I am seeing improvement in how you're doing the game nowadays, or I'm seeing improvement from when you started doing the game and how you're doing right now. That pushes me to understand the game better.
Yeah. As we build on the compliment, what advice would you give someone who's interested in becoming a basketball official or umpire?
Okay, start by understanding the rules without first practicing them. Just understand them, go through them, read them, then watch the games, see what referees do. Then start by applying, on the court slowly. Just start doing the local games. Go to your, scrimmage and at least just blow the whistle, make the calls. Then from there, you will start moving slowly. And also just be ready for growth as you do the game because how you start is not how you'll proceed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of proceeding and the future, any future goals, aspirations, with the realm of basketball officiating?
Well, I aspire to at least attain the highest level of the licensing, to grow from grade 2 to grade 1 to national to international. And I aspire to also improve basketball officiating in Kenya. Yeah.
You seem to be loving kids and working with kids.
Yeah.
Are you working something out in regards to just teaching rules to young kids to understand, or doing young kid clinics for young ladies or gentlemen who'd like to be officials?
That is like in my vision. So probably in the future, that is something I will do.
Yeah, we are looking forward to such moments. Yeah. On to the quick fire segment. Favorite athlete?
A general favorite athlete, I'd say Eliud Kipchoge.
Eliud Kipchoge, why?
Yeah, he's made us proud, and I like how he pushes himself. Yeah.
You love running?
Yeah, I do love running. I'm an athlete. Yeah.
Wow. I hate running. Though being a player, I dread running. I think it's because of high school I ran a lot, but yeah, but I'm getting into it. Still do the marathons. Have you done any of this? Standard Chartered, Nairobi Marathon, have you participated in any?
I'm planning to participate in the Nairobi Marathon, the upcoming one.
The upcoming one?
I think that will be my first.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You're going for 10, 5, 21?
10.
10. See you there. All right. The most challenging game you've ever refereed?
I don't have one in mind. I believe I've had maybe a challenging moment of transitions from doing the kids games to doing the adult games, but no games, in mind. Yeah.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
To be confident, that is one, and to take my time, study the rules, and to listen to feedback. To listen to feedback is one thing that I was told by someone. Just listen to feedback and learn from other people's mistakes, not your own mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your go-to pre-game ritual?
Well, I listen to a certain podcast every time I know I'm having a game. So the morning before, I listen to Stephen Bartlett. Yeah.
Who's Stephen? What does he do?
He has a podcast called Diary of a CEO. It's not related to basketball or anything, but it's just my pre-game ritual. Definitely,
it's a good one. And it's a good podcast to the man behind the camera as well. He likes it a lot. He's actually read the Diary of a CEO book and tasked me to do the same.
Should, definitely should.
I will for sure. And as we wrap it up, Susan, you are an umpire, you're out there in games, there are people who look up to you. They may not to say it, they may not talk about it, but you're in the public space of sports. What advice would you give to a young 17, 14-year-old lady or gentleman looking at that camera?
Which one?
This one.
Okay.
Yep.
So I will just tell my younger self to give myself the grace and the time to grow, to take time, and learn everything with grace. Yes.
Grace. Are you a believer?
Yes, I'm a believer. I'm a Christian.
Awesome. I'm also a believer. God has been faithful for us here at Wima Sports. And we never do this, but we'd like to try it out. Any questions for me?
Okay. I do have a question for you.
Yes.
I believe Wima Sports has grown.
Yes.
So what are your goals like from now on in the next 2-3 years for Wima Sports? Yeah,
for Wima Sports, the next 2-3 years, the first I'd like to start by responding to that question. Go check our 2-year celebration that is in our YouTube timeline down there. I'll get to put it up here so that you get to see what we have achieved in 2 years and where we want to go. But answering your question, what we'd like to see or achieve in 2 or 3 years is mostly and hugely is, Wima Imara to the Future Foundation that we're looking to build to impact lives of athletes. And we'd like to have 2 or 3 athletes in that program and impacting their lives.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the hugest. One more? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Are you going to go back to playing basketball?
Basketball. We'll see. The Lord knows. If the Lord wants me to, I will. But not super actively. I mean, just Division 1, Parley, Division 2. I know those are some of the hardest leagues in most competitive leagues in Kenya. Premier is a big league, But I believe the Division 1 league is super competitive. What do you think? Is that true or not? Ish.
Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because in the Premier League you have 2-3 really competitive leagues, teams, 2, 3, 4. Then the rest of the teams are like blowouts. So that's why I feel or think that it's not well. But anyway, that's a conversation of another day. Viewers, indeed was great having you. Until next time, it's your host here, Jermaine Odhiambo at Wima Sports, where we champion sports development, and we are at Osoita Lodge, where guests become family. Susan, thank you so much for coming. We are wishing you all the best in what and all you do as an umpire, and we are looking forward to you doing great things.
Thank you so much.
Continue championing the sports. Continue being great at what you do.
All right.
Sky is not the limit. You can do much more and more. That's what we believe in here at Wima Sports. Until next time, viewers, signing out. It's your host, Jermaine. Salute.